The Adani Group is run by Asia's richest man, Gautam Adani. It's the second largest conglomerate in India. The Adani Group is involved in many areas of business. They deal in sports, airports, shipping ports, cement, mines, data centers, power generation and transmission, and the development of other infrastructure projects. However, overnight, Adani's stock price lost $100 billion within 6 days, while its owner, Gautam Adani, lost $60 billion in paper losses. It got so bad, the Adani Group had to stop its $2.5 billion FPO, its follow-on public offering. There was an uproar in the Indian parliament, and short sellers of the Adani Group were celebrating. The Reserve Bank of India had to respond to the Adani scandal to assure its investors that its banking system remained stable and resilient. How did India's second largest conglomerate, the Adani Group, which was part of India's growth story and has ties to India's Prime Minister, become so hated and controversial? What happened? Well, the Hindenburg happened. A short seller company in New York, Hindenburg Research, put out a 100-page report detailing how the Adani Group could be the greatest con in corporate history. They also said they had a short position on the Adani Group. Hindenburg accused Adani of stock price manipulation and accounting fraud which spanned decades. The Adani Group fought back against the report, calling it baseless and a calculated attack on India, but it didn't work. Initially, the Hindenburg Research report only wiped out $12 billion from the Adani Group stock, but as rumors began to spread, more investors panicked and began pulling out of Adani's group companies, resulting in an over $100 billion lost across their 7 publicly listed companies. It's not as bad as Facebook, which lost $650 billion in market value because of their metaverse play. However, the $100 billion in paper losses was worrying enough to warrant a response from the Adani Group. They obviously had to stop the $2.4 billion FPO, which was ongoing. Gautam Adani's net worth fell by $60 billion. He went from the 3rd richest person in the world to the 16th richest. India's parliament was in turmoil over the Adani Group fraud allegations. There were demands for a debate and a joint parliamentary committee probe into the Adani Group.
We saw uproar in both houses of parliament today as well. After budget proceedings were over, when discussions were due, you had 13 opposition parties coming together to demand a debate in the House, saying this is an issue of national importance and that regular business must be suspended. But
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi came under fire for having close ties to the Adani Group. Both Credit Suisse and Citigroup have stopped investors from using the Adani Group securities as collateral against margin loans. India's market regulator, SEBI, increased scrutiny on Adani, promising to add Hindenburg Research into their ongoing pile of investigations on the Adani Group. India's National Stock Exchange placed shares of Adani Enterprises, Adani Ports, and Abuja Cements under additional surveillance. In America, S&P Global Ratings cut its ratings outlook on Adani Electricity and Adani Ports from stable to negative. The S&P Dow Jones Indices said it was going to remove Adani Enterprises from its sustainability indexes soon. Now you know how much damage the Hindenburg Research report has caused to the Adani Group. What are these allegations by Hindenburg Research? Hindenburg Research said the 7 key listed companies of Adani Group were 85% overvalued, even if investors ignored their investigation. They also allege these 7 companies of the Adani Group took on too much debt through dangerous ways, like pledging shares of their inflated stock for loans. The main meat of Hindenburg's case against Adani is that Gautam Adani's older brother, Vinod Adani, controls a web of 38 Mauritius shell companies that owns billions of dollars of Adani Group shares. The offshore Mauritius company was used to conceal the Adani family's ownership of Adani Group shares. India's securities regulator, SEBI, needs companies to let the public have 25% of company shares to limit insider trading. So the Adani Group founders were not allowed to have more than 75% of Adani shares. Vinod, by hiding the shares offshore, was able to avoid disclosure requirements and basically helped his family own more of Adani Group stock than they as insiders were allowed to own in India. Hindenburg Research claims Vinod was doing this to manipulate Adani's group share price and engage in money laundering. Hindenburg Research also said many of Adani's listed companies are on the verge of being delisted from the stock market by Indian authorities. Some, like Adani Wilmar Company, have 87% of insider share ownership, so they need to lower the insider share ownership down to 75% by 2025 or risk getting delisted. Other Adani companies companies, 4 of them are in trouble. Hindenburg suspects that each of the 4 companies have over 75% of insider ownership, which you can see highlighted in red in the table. This is thanks to the hidden funds in Mauritius, which Hindenburg Research managed to uncover. India's regulatory authorities are already asking the Adani Group for their beneficial owners information. Next, Hindenburg suspects other companies have hidden Adani Group funds on their behalf secretly. For example, the Monte Rosa Group in Mauritius, which has ties to Indian government officials. Another Mauritius-based fund, Elara Capital PLC, invests solely in the Adani Group. Investing 99% of your fund's money into one company is very strange. It doesn't help that these Elara funds leaked emails show they helped a notorious Indian fugitive, Dharmesh Joshi, when he fled India. There's also the new Liana Investments, which has a portfolio which consists of 95% of only Adani shares. New Liana is linked to Armicorp Group, which has an extensive history of supplying managerial services to Adani Group and is also linked to the 1MDB scandal, where they helped make money laundering entities masquerading as mutual funds. There are even more entities connected to either Adani or Vinod, the elder brother of Gautam Adani, which he claims doesn't work for the Adani company. Vinod, while being an elusive figure, has been found at the center of the Indian government's investigation on the Adani Group for using offshore companies to facilitate fraud. In addition, Hindenburg Research alleges between 30% to 47% of shares bought and held until market close for several Adani companies were done by these overseas offshore stock parking entities. This could mean the companies were engaged in stock market manipulation, which could explain the 1300% rise in Adani's stock price since 2019. There are a lot of allegations, too many in fact. While most of the allegations aren't proven yet, each of the 88 questions in the Hindenburg Research report has the type of nuance you'd expect from a report that took 2 years to investigate and compile. You can go read it yourself. I've placed the links in the description down below. While the owner of Adani Group hasn't released a statement against Hindenburg Research and only addressed the FPO, the CFO of Adani Group has issued a statement against Hindenburg's research, calling the rumors baseless. Jugas Hinder, also known as Robbie Singh, the CFO of Adani Group, has responded by saying Hindenburg Research had bad intentions when they released the 100-page report on Adani Group. In his words, he said the timing of the report's publication clearly betrays a brazen, malified intention. Malified means it's carried out in bad faith to undermine the Adani Group's reputation with the principal objective of damaging her upcoming follow-on public offering from Adani Enterprises, the biggest FPO ever in India. An FPO is different from an IPO. While the IPO is the company's initial public offering of shares, the FPO takes place after the IPO. FPO means follow-on public offering. Here, a company which is already listed on a stock exchange will issue new shares to investors. Their secondary offerings, the Adani Group was trying to raise money from investors by adding more shares to the market. This is a video showing Adani Group's response to Hindenburg's allegations.
We are shocked that Hindenburg Research has published a report on January 24, 2023 without making any attempt to contact us or verify the factual metrics. Adani Group, which is India's leader in infrastructure and job creation, is a diverse portfolio of market-leading businesses managed by CEOs of the highest professional caliber, overseen by experts in various fields for several decades. The group has always been in compliance with all laws, regardless of jurisdiction, and maintains the highest standard of corporate governance. Thank you.
The Adani Group's legal department has also issued a statement saying the company was planning to sue Hindenburg Research. The Adani Group has also released a 400-page report refuting Hindenburg Research's allegations. They said all of Hindenburg Research reports were based on baseless rumors, calling the short seller the Madoffs of Manhattan. Adani claimed Hindenburg Research was attacking India, and the company has complied with all relevant and applicable laws and regulations. Hindenburg Research saw Adani Group's 400-page report and nitpicked. They complained Adani failed to answer 62 out of the 88 questions that was requested in the Hindenburg report. Hindenburg Research followed up by saying fraud cannot be obfuscated by nationalism or bloated response that ignores every key allegation raised, and out of the questions Adani did answer, the group either confirmed or tried to sidestep Hindenburg's findings. So far, what Hindenburg Research has succeeded in doing is dramatically lowering Adani Group's stock price and dragging the Indian government into all of this, because the Adani Group rose to prominence because of some laws regarding coal made by the Indian government. The chairman of the Adani Group himself, Gautam Adani, went on to say the failure of the FPO would not have any impact on the company's operations or future plans, and that they would pay back their debt using the company's strong earnings and robust cash flows. Gautam Adani told everyone it was morally correct to take down the FPO because of market volatility. He assured investors that the failure of the recent FPO wasn't a big deal and the rest of the companies were doing well, but failed to address the Hindenburg Research allegations. So far, all the problems the Adani Group is facing come from one single report which Hindenburg Research released. There's been no real proof of Adani Group's corruption yet. However, India's government has been investigating Adani for corruption for some time now. You might wonder why one report without any real proof of wrongdoing was able to cause so much damage, $100 billion worth, to the Adani Group. It only starts to make sense after you consider the company publishing the Adani Group report. Hindenburg Research is a relatively young firm which was founded in 2017, but it's highly respected in investment circles. The way it makes money is that it shorts companies. If the company's stock price drops, Hindenburg Research makes money. Usually what firms like Hindenburg Research does is that they'll try to make a company's stock price drop by making an investigative report, a literal deep dive into the company's finances. They'll dig up all sorts of fraud, controversy, or whatever skeletons from the company's closets and put out a report telling everyone, oh look, this company is bad, so sell the stock. Once the company's stock price falls, Hindenburg Research's short position makes them billions of dollars and they just find another company to short. Then they'll badmouth the company, its stock price falls, and Hindenburg Research makes money. Rinse and repeat, and you have a profitable investment firm. This shows Hindenburg Research does have an incentive to do biased reporting so they can make money on their short positions, but so far, Hindenburg Research, relative to its young age, has been right more times than they have been wrong. Hindenburg Research made many correct predictions and fraud allegations on many high-profile companies and profited as a result. One prominent example was the Nikola Group. Remember that company that was big on hydrogen power and electric cars? The one that tried to fight Tesla, but everyone found out that Nikola's electric car test drive wasn't real. Their Nikola car wasn't working, so the founders decided to push the car down a hill so it looked like it was moving, when in actuality the engines were not working properly. Well, Hindenburg Research was one of the first companies that claimed Nikola Motors was a fraud, while everyone else thought Nikola was legit. In fact, the SEC used Hindenburg Research reports on Nikola in the trial against Nikola's former founder and CEO, Trevor Milton. After Nikola's stock price dropped, Hindenburg Research cashed out of their short position on Nikola and made a ton of money. The founder, Nathan Anderson, confirmed this himself while talking to the Wall Street Journal. So you can see how respected Hindenburg Research is in the field. Many other companies do this as well. Just because Hindenburg Research is a market manipulator doesn't mean it can't be right about certain things. Just understand that Hindenburg Research has a big short position on the Adani Group, so you'd have to take their reports with a grain of salt. However, some things they said could still be true. Hindenburg Research employs a team of journalists with backgrounds from Bloomberg and CNN, along with analysts who are responsible for sussing out dirt on companies. They drag in whistleblowers if necessary. If Hindenburg Research is going to make a profit short selling, then they're going to do it legally. And that means they don't bet on companies that are clean. It's better to go after companies who are already engaged in fraud and short those stocks instead. While we don't know whether allegations about the Adani Group are true or false, one thing is for certain: when Hindenburg Research announces they have a short position on your company, you're in for a rough time. Whether Adani Group is truly innocent or not, they're going to have a hard time clearing their name and restoring their stock price to their previous highs after the Hindenburg report. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe.